Hello, Brianna Owens here, a Smart Exemplary Educator, and today I'm going to talk about one of the ways that I'm using SMART to meet different learning needs in my classroom, and in particular looking at how kids can acquire vocabulary within the learning of reading context. So one of the biggest things that we're working on in some states in the United States is the Common Core State Standards. And one of the most challenging standards that I've come across to teach is having students meet the need to understand unknown words within read context. So that means trying to acquire meaning and determine what a word might mean based on what they're reading and the surrounding words in the context. So one of the really cool tools that I've stumbled upon in trying to figure out how to do this with my students and how to gain familiarity with this is actually one of the lab activities. So Lesson Activity Builder within Smart Notebook. And if you are not familiar with it, it's very easy to use. You just click on the magic hat and it's going to bring you lots of gamification and fun interactive activities for kiddos that are really quick and easy. You can build these in advance, or they're really simple, so even mid-lesson, as you're working with students, you can always add these as well. But I have one already pre-created, and I went off of a topic that my students have been working on about global citizenship. And so my goal with this lesson is to really get kids interacting with the words, reading the entire print, and then trying to infer and determine meaning of familiar words, but also unknown words based on what they're reading. So I go through and create a paragraph all together, and then we can go back and determine which words are going to be our keywords or our blank words. So then we would read it together as a class. A global blank is a person who is part of a bigger world, or global blank. So we'll talk about the first portion, and then we'll kind of go through the words and talk about which of these might really fit with an individual person. So we would talk about how causes wouldn't necessarily fit, what type of part of speech that is, and then trying to determine, well, what a cause might be, and then if that fits in the context of the word. So the answer here is citizen. So my students, by doing this together and as a class, we can really see the breakdown. So we're able to go through and talk about our thought process, and then kind of go through process of elimination. But it really helps my students to understand that new vocabulary, and it models for them how we work together to determine those unknown words that we're not sure the meaning. So for example, one of the words my students had a problem with was advocating. So within the context of the sentence, we talked about how global citizens work to improve the world by making a difference and blank for others. So we talked about how advocating would mean speaking up for others, and then they're able to give examples. So they go back and check if it fits and everything. So this is a really good way to do whole class instruction as well as a small group center practice based on whatever you're working on in your class, but it gives them real world examples and a way to practice this skill that's very common in the Common Core and identified as a major standard for teaching within the United States.